Well, hello everybody. Hi, hi. How are you doing? How you doing? Uh, wow. I am in Chicago. Somebody's got to be here. It's amazing. I can't believe I'm here. You probably won't believe I'm here because you might think I'm like in front of a studio because conveniently, just like in a movie, the like in a video game, right? There's no the horizon is faded out. Like the special effects department couldn't afford to render the whole thing. Believe it or not, there are skyscrapers out that window. It's just covered in ice and snow. Um, I don't know. It was beautiful yesterday. It was great. Yesterday was great. The day before was great. And then now it's sort of. I mean, it's great to be inside. I don't know. It's fine. No problem. We got this. Um, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. So, friends, let me think. We are going to write some code today. We're going to continue our exploration of Spring Batch. I started working on some Spring Batch code with y'all. Auto config. So we did the Let's Code, right? The main project that we worked on, the example that we worked on, and then we built some auto config, right? That auto config simplifies some of the setup, and that auto config, it's got legs. I think there might even be a place for it, in the pantheon of Spring projects, or at least an extension somewhere, like an attic project somewhere. And so to that end, friends, I think we're going to polish it off today and get it to the point where we can actually present it and maybe give it a proper home. Who knows? Now, this code originally was built by the original code for remote chunking, I think, was Dr. Sire, right? Dave Sire, when he was lead of the project. And then the example on which I based my code was from former Spring Batch project lead and current, Spring R&D manager, Michael Manila, who, by the way, also lives here in Chicago, beautiful Chicago, and I'll see later today. And then the thing that we wrote, the auto config that we wrote, remember, it's auto config, right? It's gonna use Spring Boot's natural mechanism for automatically configuring things. So that mechanism doesn't exist in Spring Batch. So this couldn't live in Spring Batch because that would create the circular dependency, right? Spring Boot depends on Spring Batch, but for Spring Batch to ship this code, it would also depend on Spring Boot, which, that doesn't work. It can't work. So this needs to live somewhere else above, above the phrase, so to speak. So I'm going to write some code with you all today. Hopefully we can have a conversation, talk about whatever. Hey, I think I saw Mary a minute ago, didn't I? The one, the only, the amazing, in here. Yeah, there she is. Hey, there she is. There's another amazing person that I she also, Mary Grigleski, lives here in amazing Chicago, and I saw her yesterday. A fellow Java champion from whom I learned constantly and endlessly. So thank you for saying hello. Good to see you yesterday. That was so much fun. It's not often I get to hang out with Java champions. Hi, Hassan. How are you? Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's not often that I get to hang. Oh, there's Mary again. Hi. Yeah, it's not often I get to hang out with Java champions, but just through circumstance, I was able to go to New York last month, end of January, and I got to hang out with not one, not two, but like 8 Java champions, which is pretty crazy. And then this time I got to hang out with the one and only Mary. So it's been really good. Now this is against the backdrop of like an economic recession and slashed budgets everywhere, including my own and all that. So the fact that I get to hear and see and talk to amazing friends that I've known for these so many years, it's all the more special for me. It's just a really nice thing. Okay, my friends, let's get into this because I want to make some progress. I think I might have to go do some actual work today, which would be fun. I mean, actually, yesterday I hung out with some customers, which is a lot of fun. That's a real privilege for me because I get to learn from these customers, their use cases and what they're doing and what they're having trouble with. I mean, hopefully that can turn into something useful that we can feed back into the engineering group. Usually not. Usually it's just like, oh, hey, that seems like a problem. Maybe we can try and fix it together. And then we sit down and we fix it. Or or I just go ask somebody smarter, which is again my superpower. I know the smart people. That's what I do very well. Um, but a lot of times I just learn. A lot of times there people are doing interesting things with their stuff, and they're using Spring as the foundation of their stack. But Spring, by its very design, is extensible, and so it sort of invites extension. I mean, it's a dependency injection framework. It's a framework, which is, what they say. It's open for extension. Uh, but I mean, the old adage is a framework conceptually is open for extension, but closed for modification. That is to say, you don't need to recompile and change Spring to um, to use Spring, right? Oh, hey, bad news. Oh dear. No, did you see that? Oh no. I just saw it popped up on my iPad. The inventor of the famous Singaporean chili crab dish just passed away, aged 90. Hmm, that's not nice. Well, anyway, yeah, rest in peace, sir, or madame. I don't know. I didn't see the gender there. I just saw the brief headline, inventor of. Anyway, so that experience, I just love that experience. I love it because people build amazing things with Spring. It's open for extension but closed for modification, like I say. That's not to say that you couldn't. Female. Oh, good. Thank you, Obed. Good. So, yeah, rest in peace, madam. So, the framework is conceptually, it's meant to be extended. Obviously, Spring is open source, so you totally could like recompile Spring. It's 100% open source, Apache 2 licensed. Do what you want to do with it. But conceptually, you don't need to. That's the point. There's extension hooks. It supports replacing basically all of the moving parts through dependency injection. The thing that it enables you to do is also the thing that it leverages itself to be a better framework, right? To be more amenable to replacement. I have, by the by, friends of friends, my AirPods at the ready should the snow resume and we start to hear too much pitter patter against the window there. I'm also in a hotel, and I sort of wonder if I'm going to be disturbed by housekeeping. I might just go lock that door. So I'll be right back. You just stay put. There we are. Now we're cooking. Or not cooking. Good. Okay, so yeah, so good. That extensibility is amazing. It's what makes Spring so valuable. So I went to an organization. I talked to a large bank in Scandinavia last month, and they were doing such cool things. They were doing such amazing things. They had built, because remember, so much of what there's two schools of thought here, right? There's two ends to the continuum here. There's two different dimensions here. One is you're a large organization. You've got a lot of different services, be it Microsoft code that you've built up over the many decades of your large organization's existence. And so you've got sprawl. You've got this sort of unabated growth. And so, yeah, that sprawl, how do you wrestle with that? How do you contend with that? How do you manage that? And so people say, oh, well, this is one of the things that microservices only further exacerbates, right? It creates more sprawl. And, that's probably true, especially in the untamed wilderness of production. Yeah, you got to be very careful that things don't get out of hand. And that's going to happen. What I think people are sort of ignoring in that argument is that neglect happens, right? It's if you're not neglecting your service area, your code bases, then sure, you're going to be fine. That's always true, whether you're doing microservices or not. That's going to be true. But where things get moldy, where things get if they fall into disuse, where you get rot, that of course is going to be a problem, whether you're doing microservices or not. That's true for any code base, right? And so the trick is to sort of constantly be worrying about that, to constantly be working to fight back and to push back the forces of technical debt and rot and disuse, which is an increasingly hard problem to do. So you have to learn to like either actively excise old irrelevant code. Like if you're not using it and nobody's maintaining it, don't keep it around. Like it's not worth the weight of debt on your organization. Obviously, sometimes you have to, in which case, budget accordingly, right? You have to, if you can't, I mean, this sounds silly, but if you can't afford to run it, then don't run it, right? Like if you can afford to run it, then you should run it properly. And obviously there's there's a budget, there's a constraint here. We have our real constraint, organizational costs, resources are hard to find in any economy, especially this one, people that can help do the work, etc. Not to mention you have increasingly older software. It's hard to find somebody trained up on COBOL and Kix and mainframes and so on these days, right? It's expensive too. So there's all that. There's all these like real things. And so given that problem, given that as the backdrop, you have two different approaches, right? Two different approaches to wrangling that mayhem. One is centralized everything, right? You want to have centralized governance. You want to have lifecycle management. You want to have central, strong-handed control over everything. And that means you have an edict from on high where you say everything must be running on this version of Java. And everybody must be using these dependencies and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure you've worked in an organization or two. How can Six only be watching? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a new channel. But to be fair, it's not Six watching. Well, I mean, if you go to like Twitter, for example, this is the thing. I think YouTube is not nearly as popular as I was hoping it would be. I'm hoping people would join me on YouTube, right? But they're not always. And so a lot of people join me on other channels. So right now, whatever, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And the thing is, even when I'm done with these streams, they sometimes, like, I'll just leave them there for an hour or two, and then after they've percolated for a little bit, people start to find them, and then you get hundreds or thousands of views very quickly. So it's weird. I'm trying not to be disheartened by the numbers of people who join me on the moment of the broadcast, because that doesn't actually translate into the real impact of these things, which is nice, right? It's really nice. So okay, anyway, we have that's really, look at that, that's super nice. Thank you. Hello from the States, and I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate that there's a million things you could be doing, but instead you chose to hang out with me. Much appreciated. Yeah, and I'm hoping to get to India. My budget has been severely curtailed this year, so we'll see if that happens. But in theory, I'm going to India for at least one event in the not too distant future. Hopefully, we can all hang out and talk software in person. But anyway, so you've got these two continuums, right? One is centralize everything. Is that pitter patter? Can you hear that? That snow is finally coming down. Anyway, you've got two continuums. One is you address it by centralizing everything, governance, strong-handed governance. The other is sort of more of the laissez-faire Netflix approach, right? Freedom and responsibility, right? You've got the ability to do whatever you want. You can use whatever version of Java you like, or you can use whatever libraries you use. You can use in different languages if you want. I mean, really, just have at it, so long as you're willing to account for certain key metrics. Like it's is a software bug free? Does it, or at least a security vulnerability free, as far as you know? Is it available at a certain capacity, certain numbers, etc. And you give people the tools to automatically make the jumps to those new things if they can, but you don't require them to do that. And you trust that people want to move forward. They want to stay on the latest and greatest where it benefits them, but you want to make it as trivial as possible for them to do so, right? Okay, so yeah, I think that, wow, can you hear it? I've got like, I love big city life. I love it. I live in San Francisco. I live on the 12th floor of a high rise, a skyscraper in San Francisco. I'm in 42nd floor now in this hotel in Chicago, and you can hear the sirens as though they're whirring right past my window. I mean, I'm on the 42nd floor. It's actually like, if this building were to, if you put it like on its side, it would be like a block, right? So the fact that I can hear it, that I'm a block away from the ground, basically, if you think about it, right? Like, and yet I can hear it like it's right next to me. Amazing. and through glass. It's well insulated in here, right? I'm warm in here. So the fact that I'm warm means there's got to be a lot of insulation. Let's see here. Connect. Settings. Audio. Yeah, you can hear me. Test, test, test. Yep, sounds good. Yeah, okay. So hopefully you can hear me now. I put on the noise canceling. Yeah. Okay, good. So okay, I can still hear the pitter patter. That's crazy. It doesn't seem to make a difference. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I thought that was going to be like my one cool trick, but it didn't work at all. I can hear myself again. Audio. MacBook Pro, test, test, test. Okay, well, yeah. Sorry, I can't make the snow stop, Anyway, so you got these two different continuums. One organization that I talked to last month really seemed to have figured it out. They have a sort of an amazing mix of both dimensions, right? Both angles. They have easy to use tools. They do have some standards around like, okay, you should be using Spring Boot. You should be using reactive if possible. You should be doing, you should have certain endpoints exposed in your service, in your application. And so it's consumable. Like they have the ability to see every service in production. They can talk to the actuator endpoints. They even built custom actuator endpoints, right? And those actuator endpoints give them information about like, oh, okay, I need, you're doing this, this, and this. This goes above and beyond what Spring Boot supports out of the box, right? Spring Boot supports a lot, so they didn't have to rebuild most of that, but they did have to extend it for their particular use cases, and it's just really inspiring to see, So I quite like that. Okay, friends, let's see. Let's get some code going, and we'll have a conversation. Let me see here. Share my screen. Share screen. Entire screen. Goody. Okay. What am I doing? I think the first thing I need to do is turn this application into a multi-module Maven project, right? It's already, because remember the auto config lives here. Batch right here, right? It's a auto config. It's two different modules, and I've got some redundant types in both packages, in both modules for the leader and the worker node configuration. So what I want to do is I want to extract out from both sample applications the auto configuration and put it in a single place. Now, this is a learning opportunity for me, and maybe if somebody's online and wants to help me like muscle through this, I need to multi-module build in Gradle. That's my first thing that I want to learn today. Oh, by the way, did you all see Gradle 8 just came out? Ooh, Gradle 8 is out. Gradle 8. There are some amazing new things here. Let's see. First of all, it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do with Kotlin. So if you're using Kotlin, which I love, then there's more there for you. So let's see. They've got the Kotlin DSL provides an alternative syntax to the Groovy DSL with enhanced editing experiences and supported IDs. So like basically they're saying what we all know, which is that if you're manipulating Kotlin code in IntelliJ, you're gonna have a better time of it than you would if you're doing Groovy code. It's just because, I mean, it's kind of natural, right? First of all, you've got a stronger type system in Kotlin, and then second of all, IntelliJ, the vendor that most people use for their IDE, also makes the Kotlin language. JetBrains, the company behind IntelliJ, also makes the Kotlin language, and so it would be unnatural, right? Okay, so it would be unnatural if the outcome was anything else, right? So that's part one. You've got faster Kotlin DSL build script compilation. Gradle 8 introduces the interpreter for the declarative plugins block in Gradle.kts scripts that make overall script compilation time around 20% faster, which is amazing. It's just amazing you can do that. It's also kind of a bummer that you have to do that. Like the fact that I have to care about compiling my build script is going to be a perennial problem for me, right? The fact that I could have a compiler error in my build script makes me sad here in my heart, and also a little bit down there in my wherever my liver is. I don't know why. I just feel like it's it creates it makes me secrete a bile that makes me unhappy. But okay, so we got the performance improvement is limited to in some scenarios. If the interpreter cannot parse the declarative plugins block, Gradle will fall back to using Kotlin compiler. If the wait, what? Okay. So that's very strange. There's actually there's a I mean, can you imagine? This is a you have to have. I suppose it doesn't matter. You won't even notice it, and for most builds, it's going to be fast enough. But understand what they're saying here. They're saying the Kotlin interpreter. You can use Kotlin to interpret code as you know, and when you just give it the KTS thing, and it'll read it in and execute it like a REPL, line by line, interactively, or it can compile it to bytecode and then execute that. And the interesting bit here is that there's a difference. And if you want to benefit from that, you need to use one of two formats for declaring dependencies, which is interesting because why is there more than one format? I don't know. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, moving on. Note the application using version catalog aliases for plugins, e.g. alias blah 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 or type safe plugin accessors, Acme plugin, will not see a performance improvement. I don't even know what those are. I didn't know there were so many different ways to do it, let alone that it would cause me a performance, degradation. Kotlin DSL updated to Kotlin API level 1.8. So now you can use Kotlin 1.8. What is the current version of Kotlin? Well, 1.8 looks like. So that's just 2 months old, or like less than 2 months old. This came out right after Christmas, right before the New Year, the Western New Year, just in December. So good stuff. That's nice. Updated to that. What do you get if you use start.spring.io? I wonder how far along we are. So go there, and 1.7 tisk. Let's see, 1.7. Not good. So in theory, you can use newer features in your build script than you can in your Kotlin program by default. Just I wonder. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna have to update my Kotlin. I'm gonna have to update Gradle and see if that breaks my ability to compile my own app, or if it makes it possible for me to write code that I can't compile in my own app. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. Good stuff. So they're clearly using the good stuff here. Now the Kotlin DSL can use newer Java features. What does that mean? So before it was limited to Java 8 bytecode. Starting with Gradle 8.0, Kotlin DSL will use the Java version of the JVM running the build. So wait, what? So if your team is using Java 11 to run Gradle, you can now use Java 11 libraries and language features in your build script. You mean my build script built on Kotlin? What? Oh, why would I use language features from Java in my build script? Especially Java 11 or whatever. Even Java 17 is basically a subset of Kotlin. I don't understand what this means. And I can use all those features in Java 8. What does this have to do with anything? Are they saying like if I wrote like a record or something that I could then consume that from my Kotlin program, as a library or something? I don't know what that means. I need somebody smarter than I am to tell me what that means. Moving on. Precompiled script plugins use the configured Java toolchain. Previously, the compilation of the precompiled script plugins used the JVM target as configured by Kotlin DSL plugin options.jvm target. Okay, so if I'm so with Gradle, you can have, is this build source? Where does this stuff live? Oh, it is build source. Yeah. Okay, so wait, to demonstrate how you can implement and use a precompiled script plugin, let's walk through an example based on the build source project. So you have that build source, and then you have some you have your build file. And by the way, look at that. Did you see this? Look at this. I'm on docs.gradle.org looking at 8.0, and if I hit refresh, that's nice. Look at the default language that they show you. It's Kotlin, not Groovy. Kotlin is what you see by default. So if you want to go out of your way use Groovy. And I think this is a subtle way of them telling us that we should be using Kotlin by default as well, which I kind of like. Oh, whoops, that. There you go. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff right there. Because I think we should be using Kotlin by default too. So I guess from now on, I should I should do my level-headed best about using Gradle Kotlin by default. Now, so it means here I am trying to do the right thing, learning Gradle. I'm just, I'm not really good at it, but I've tried, darn it, and it's going okay. I haven't had too many issues, but now I got to remember to click this. I was hoping to just get by with the Gradle Groovy support, but now it looks like I might have to get good at this Gradle Kotlin 1.8 or 8.0. I mean, okay, so good. So builds precompiled script plugins. Use the build chain. So there's now, you can use the project build chain instead of the version specified in the, what is that right here? The where did it go? Where did it go? What is this? Standalone. This is the doc still, right? Release notes in this Kotlin DSL plugin option. So there's an option there in the configuration for the plugin. You can configure that, but now you can use the default configured Java toolchain for the project, or Java 8 if none is otherwise specified, which is a terrible default. Why Java 8? That's a big step backwards. You should just default to Java 17, which is at least a sane place to start today. It's already almost 3 versions old, but still, it's a sane place to start. So see the Kotlin. So there's a lot of good stuff here for Kotlin builds, and I have to wonder if this is to achieve parity, because I don't know. Somebody could tell me here. I'm an idiot, but I have to wonder if this is to achieve parity with what was already possible with the Groovy DSL, or if now this puts the Kotlin DSL just that much further ahead of the Groovy DSL. Now I don't know. I truly do not know if that's which one is the case. Okay, so good. So run build source tasks directly. So it's now possible to run in the tasks of a build source build from the command line using the same syntax used for tasks for included builds. So, what does that mean? It's now possible to run the task of a build source build from the command line using the same syntax. For example, you can use Gradle build source build to run the build Oh, hey. Give me 1 second, friends. My lunch has just arrived, so hopefully they'll be able to. Yeah, sorry, recursion. Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to leave it. Hopefully they'll be able to leave it at my door. I can just collect it quickly, but I might have to saunter over to the door quickly. Okay, so let's see. So basically, build source, for those of you who are just joining, is in Kotlin. In Gradle, they make it super easy plugins or to package up your logic in a sort of reusable format called build source. So it's basically another directory at the root of your project, be it Java or Groovy or Kotlin, and it's called build source. And there you can put in either other Gradle build files or actual classes and stuff that implement tasks and plugins and whatever. You can write Java code in the build source directory, source main Java inside of a build source that then I guess is source main Java. I don't know. You can put code in the build source directory, and your build file at the root of your project will then find any extensions, any plugins, any tasks that you've put in that build source directory, and you can reuse them. You can so you can test and build and compile your build source separate from your main code. But the nice thing is that it ships with your main code, so your build file is nice and clean and succinct, and the reusable stuff lives in the build source. You don't want to put 100-line custom plugin in your Gradle build file. You want to extract that out into something with proper tests and all that. So the build source is a proper way to do that. And going a step further, if you've done that and you really want to centralize it, you can actually extract it out into a separate jar, into a separate plugin jar that you can then distribute on Maven Central or whatever, right? So build source is getting some love here. They're saying that there's, there it is, bareback, there's food. Oh, hi. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Right. So they're saying that build source is now being like given even more ease, right? Um, cool. Build source can include other builds. So my build can include build source, and then build source can include other builds. That sounds cool. I think I haven't hit the level of complexity required to need that, but conceptually it sounds great. Okay, so tests for build source are no longer. That sounds bad. Okay, when Gradle builds the output of build source, it only runs the tasks that produce that output. It no longer runs the build task. In particular, this means that the tests of build source and its sub projects are not built and executed when they are not needed. So I would have to do like build source : test, I guess, to manually run that. Oh, I don't know why they would. What is the use case for this? Is it just they don't want to have to like wait for the tests to run every time they do a build? Okay, anyway, moving on. Init scripts. Init script are now, I don't even know what that is. That's cool. Init scripts. Okay, cool. Apparently they're applied to build source. I didn't even know what an init script is. That's interesting to me. News. Gradle. What is it? Gradle init script? Oh. Define machine-specific details like where the JDK is, register build listeners, set properties based on the current environment. Wait, you can do a lot of stuff here, and I wouldn't even be able to see that. This is all stuff that you can add to the code base at runtime that is completely implicit. Like there's no explicit mention or notice of that. You're just, oh, that's going to make it confusing. So I can create a file called init.gradle or init.gradle.kts in the Gradle user home directory. Oh, wow. Is that like settings.xml, but like way more powerful and way more dangerous? Because I can just write Turing complete logic there with, ooh, okay, whatever. Moving on. I think that's cool. Okay, moving on. Configuration cache improves build time by caching the results of the configuration phase and reusing this for subsequent builds. This is an incubating feature that can significantly improve build performance. See, this is where I think Gradle has an upper hand, right? The upper hand. It is fantastic at caching, and the reason I think it's so good is because it has this explicit component. Like you have to declare inputs and outputs. So it can reason about, this is an input to this next task, but this is also the output of this other task, and nothing is changed such that that other task has to be rerun. Therefore, the output of that task is the same. Therefore, I don't need to, I can just pass in. It knows the whole transitive graph of inputs and outputs for all the different tasks in the build chain. And so because it knows that, it can cache it very intelligently. So you get these builds that are like phenomenal, crazy fast. And then going a step further, Gradle Enterprise, they're professional, paid for, cost money, but stellar piece of SaaS infrastructure. It can do even more intelligent things. It can do like AI. You can squeeze whole hours out of your build cycles every day if you just apply some of the smart things that it'll automatically suggest that you do for your builds, because it sees all of your organization's builds and it can say, okay, look, you're wasting opportunities to save time here, and here. Do this, and it'll go faster, whatever. And it just does. It's like really, really intelligent. Okay, so good. More parallelism on the first build. Config cache now enables more fine-grained parallelism than just enabling parallel execution. Okay. Since Gradle 8.0, tasks run in parallel from the first build when using the configuration cache. Gradle has always run tasks in parallel when it reuses a configuration cache entry. Okay. Expanded compatibility with core plugins. The Gradle init command. This is another thing I love. You can use this to generate a brand new Gradle project, and it's kind of like Maven archetypes, except there's some pre-built ones. This won't work. Doesn't matter for me, right? Because I just go to start.spring.io, even if I'm not necessarily building a full Spring Boot app, I can go there and get a skeletal structure with a directory and all that stuff, directory structure and a basic build file, all that kind of stuff set up. But it is very useful, and I can see why this is interesting. If you want to take a project that doesn't otherwise know about Gradle, you just do Gradle init, and it'll give you the basics. So you can use it with a configuration cache. Okay. The Antler plugin and Groovy DSL what Antler plugin? What? Why? So Antler is a parser generator, right? So plugins, Antler. Okay, I'm just going to trust that actually means. Okay. Java toolchain improvements, updated toolchain download repositories. Gradle 7.6 introduced toolchain repositories for increased flexibility. In Gradle 8, there's no longer a default toolchain provisioner. You have to declare at least one Java toolchain repository explicitly. Wow. Okay. So I've got so it's doing less now? What's a toolchain? What does that give me? What? Is this like a task that sets up your build? Okay, let's see what this is. FoodJ Disco API for resolving Java runtimes. It's another tool for language recognition. Witches. Oh, Antler. I mean, yeah, I know what Antler is. Antler is one of my favorite all-time Double Dutch favorite projects ever, right? It's what's his name? He's at Stanford, at least he was. The professor who created it used to joke that he spent 5 years automating what he could have done by hand in 5 minutes. It's like, and isn't that so often the case? Where like, I'm gonna just write some quick code to automate this boring work, and then you end up like spending innumerable many more hours, whatever, doing it. But none of us have ever spent like an extra 5 years or 10 years, whatever it was. But he has, and he's very funny about it. Yeah, I love Antler. Antler is great. I've written a few Antler grammars myself, but so I can write an Antler grammar. I've written simple ones. I've never built my own. I mean, except for like in academia, whatever. I've read the Dragon book and all that, but I've never really. I'm not like somebody who spends a lot of time there. I've built some very simple ones, but there are people like me who can consume Antler with some competence. Then there's the people that are like, people who are doing even more. Like, for example, I think Hibernate uses, maybe it still does. I don't know if it still does, but it used Antler, right, for the JQL, whatever, JPAQL or HQL queries, right, that kind of stuff. But then there's people like my friend Andy Clement on the Spring team, who created the Spring expression language, and when he was creating that language like 10 years ago, and you've probably used a Spring expression language. It's everywhere in Spring, and it's in Spring Framework. So if you're in Spring Integration, in Spring Data, in Spring Batch, in Spring Security, and all these different places, you can use the Spring Integration. You can use the Spring expression language. And I remember trawling through the source code for Spring Framework back in 2009. I was doing Subversion, right? We were using Subversion. By the way, another thing, did you hear they just got rid of the support for Subversion access to GitHub repositories, a feature that I confess I had forgotten they even had. So when GitHub first came out, Subversion ruled the roost, right? It was the most popular thing. And so it was very natural that you'd offer a gateway, a bridge for Subversion clients that want to consume their code on GitHub. So you could use Subversion to commit and save and read and clone your code. But now, like 90% of the world using GitHub, like 95%, right? I don't even know anybody who would seriously say they're using anything besides Git these days. So 0.02% of the people using GitHub were apparently still using Subversion. So they're going to finally turn that off after like 13 years. Apparently the introduction of the Subversion gateway started as an April Fool's joke, and it just took off. People actually used it. So anyway, so okay, we've got this. So I was trawling through the source code for Subversion, and I just remember reading the code, and Andy, mad scientist Andy Clement, he had built a Antler grammar for the Spring expression language, which was fine. It worked perfectly. It was nice. I was able to try it out. The API was pretty stable already. I could use it in code. And then like a few weeks later, I pulled down the code again, the latest updates, and it was all gone. All that code he had written with Antler was gone. He had replaced it with a manual, handwritten recursive descent parser, which I'll never forget. I mean, just who does that? Who is so smart that they can they're like, nah, I can do better than Antler, and they did it themselves, and he did. That language, by the way, he's also one of the people that works on Aspect J, right? The aspect-oriented superset of Java, and so it has its own compiler and all that stuff. So he works on that. He's also built a compiler for Spring expression language, so you can actually, for certain frequently accessed Spring expressions, like those that are in the hot path, like in Spring integration, it can be very useful to pre-compile that little Spring expression, right? So that it gets run very, very quickly on subsequent runs. You can do that thanks to him, right? For people like him, I love him. Okay, so FooJ Resolver. What is this doing? So it's Disco try distributions one by one if no vendor is specified. What does it do? Like, I don't understand this use case yet. I'm new here, and I want to understand. Help me. Okay. Plugin provides a repository for downloading JVMs. Oh, okay. So it's based on the FooJ Disco API. Okay. The FooJ Disco API is mapped to discover Java packages from different distributions. Is this what SDK Manager is using? Like when you do SDK list Java, does this give you that information? Oh, wow. That is so cool. Okay. We're totally going to do a stream on this next, sometime soon. Yeah, that is neat. That way you could like set up a little bit of code that inserts things into your calendar saying, hey, it's June 2023. Aren't you supposed to be using Java 20 yet? I mean, shame on you. And it's just like constant nagging, because we could look at this and go, okay, look, the current version of Java is this. You are now 6 versions of Java behind. You're now 7 versions of Java, and start getting more and more annoying until you do the right thing and upgrade. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so let's see here. Configurable Gradle user home cache cleanup and retention. The cleanup of caches in Gradle user home fixed retention periods, 30 or 7 days. These so you can configure how long before things get removed. Okay, I don't care about that. Removed enhanced warning modes, all and fail, are now more verbose. Right, because what I want is more noise for my build script. Dependency verification metadata supports documenting reasons for trust. It helps you keep your project secure by ensuring the dependency being used matches the checksum of that dependency. The metadata is located in an XML config file and now accepts a reason attribute. The reason attribute allows for more details on why an artifact is trusted or why a selected checksum verification is required for a artifact directly in the verification metadata XML. Okay. That stuff, it literally makes me yawn. But it's super important. I get that. I mean, supply chain provenance, is everything these days, right? Because we're so automated that it's so easy to create these giant machines that have so many moving parts, and if you don't know where one little dependency comes from, then you could be in trouble. And actually, this is a problem that bedevils every community, not just Java, obviously. You can see it in the container community. They're looking at ways to make sure that all the layers in a particular oh, hey. We're looking at ways for to understand the provenance of layers in a given container. We're looking at that. And if you look at the JavaScript community, just the other day, I saw in NPM, there's like 4 different artifacts that admittedly, thankfully, mercifully, weren't in widespread use, but they were so small and so innocuous, and they were just malware. They existed solely to corrupt people's environment, Okay, trusted keyring files can be exported easily from the CLI. To minimize the number of times the CLI build needs to communicate with key servers, Gradle supports a local keyring file. This needs to be frequently exported to remain accurate. It is no longer required to write the full verification metadata when exporting trusted keys. Cool. CodeNarc plugin detects the Groovy runtime version. Nice. Faster PMD analysis. Cool. Promoted features. Promoted the tooling. Antler plugin. Ear plug. What's an ear? Does anybody use ears anymore? Please don't say yes. Just say no. Promoted features in the Eclipse plugin. Promoted features in the Groovy plugin. Scala. The Scala source directory set is now considered stable. Cool. Did you all see that they just hired? They just bought Gradle, the company just bought what is it, Triple Dot or something like that, a company that specializes in optimizing Scala builds using SBT, the simple build tool that is anything but, right. They bought that company, and basically I kind of think it was an acqui-hire, an acquire hire, yeah, to bring in that talent so they can make Gradle Enterprise an even better tool for all builds, including those that are based on SBT, which is very promising, right? Like, Gradle Enterprise is not tied to just Gradle. You can use Gradle Enterprise, their server that you pay for, again, with Maven and with Gradle, and I guess now with SBT, or at least, coming soon. I'm not even sure. Maybe it does it already. Okay, so anyway, all in all, really, really interesting upgrade. Now, let's get back to where we were, which is I want to use Gradle, the current version that I've got on my local machine, to create a multi-module project. What is this? Oh, very cool. Okay, sorry. Important email from a meeting I've got this weekend. Okay, so I'm going to create a multi-module project. So basic multi-module project app, build.gradle. You've got settings.gradle in the root, and the settings just have this project name, and you include app. Okay, I can do this. Let's do this. So where's my code? I got my thing here, right? Let's see here. Let's see. So if I go back to yes, did I already clone it? I must have. Desktop. How did I not? Wait, so CD desktop misc move misc. Okay. Pull. Okay. Wow. Rinse old invalid code. I'll clone this. Git clone. You need a yes. I think that would be great. I'll work on that. I think I want to do a let's code and we'll certainly cover coroutines. The gist of it is that if you're using reactive APIs, you can just automatically map those to coroutines, right? Those can be used. There's even extension functions to turn a flux or a mono into a flow, for example. And there are extension functions you can use to await those things as well. Okay, that's a great idea. I think I will do that soon, but right now I'm just taking this chance because we've got this amazing opportunity to explore Spring together. What I'm trying to do is just to go through the latest and greatest in all these great projects, right? I mean, I'll do a Spring Boot one, of course, because Spring Boot 3 just came out, but I did just publish some videos over on my on the Spring Central channel, right? So if Spring Source Dev, youtube.com/Spring Source Dev, my Spring Tips series, you can see I'm always publishing videos there as well. And there's a couple of videos from last year, from November and December and whatever, looking at Spring Boot 3 and Spring Framework 6, right? And so the big picture story, I think I've already kind of done a good job of that. And so now I'm looking at constituent projects, and eventually, yes, we'll land back at Spring Boot 3 again. And if there's an overwhelming demand to see more about that right now, I can certainly visit it. Just let me know. I'm always eager to know what you're all interested in. But for now, I'm looking at Spring Batch, and it's been very fruitful. We filed a couple of bugs. We found or at least one bug, right? And we've got this auto config, which has been useful, and I've learned about new things. And my hope is, by the way, to do a more polished video, um, sort of recapping what we've done in this let's code series, and that way it'll be like a brief spring batch in 2023 video, right? And it'll go from like very beginning to the very end. We haven't gotten to the end of our series yet, but it'll be a recapped version of that. And my hope is, we'll start with the core basics and we'll end at where we're going to go, which is with this auto config and with GraalVM native images. And hopefully we'll make strides on both fronts today. That's our goal today. Okay. So batch Spring Boot started. It turns out, just by accident, I already have some stuff in the right place. So I'm going to move leader settings.gradle to here. I'm going to copy it, I suppose. Do I need? Okay. And so cat settings.gradle. Okay. So what do I want to do? I'm going to go to worker. Actually, no, here, let's just open this whole thing up. And settings.gradle here, it's called batch. Settings.gradle in here, in the leader node, I'm going to just call this leader. And settings.gradle here, I'll call it worker. All right, so now what? We've got the root project name, root project. Oh, so I don't, wait. What is it supposed to, what's supposed to be? Maybe I don't need those. Is that true? That looks like it's true. So is the name, I don't think I need the settings.gradle in the two directories. So let's delete that file and then delete this one. Okay. And then we can include leader and worker. Okay. That's all. We go to the command line, Gradle to projects. Please work. What is it doing? Oh, that's nice. Is it faster the second time? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. So we've got our got my first multi-module project. Now, of course, if this does land in the Spring projects, then it'll be in this particular. I'm not sure if they're using Gradle or Maven, and it'll certainly be. I will certainly going to have to revisit this build anyway, just because I haven't built it to be an official part of any, much. Oh, Tesla just issued a giant recall and hundreds of thousands of cars. Now, usually, I don't know about this case. I haven't read anything more, but usually when they do a recall for Tesla, it's like they just do a software update over the air. You just download the settings over the Wi-Fi. I don't imagine they're going to have to change any hardware, but I don't know. They probably will. I don't know. Certainly, I shouldn't speculate, especially with this. But either way, check and see if your car is affected. I have a Tesla, and it's amazing what it can, and sometimes it's amazing what it cannot do. Okay, so we got this app subproject. So it's plugins is an application. I've already got the right plugins. Main class, okay, don't care about that. Q run include app and lib. App is build.gradle, lib is build.gradle. Naming recommendations. Okay, so we've complied. Let's see. We want to do both of these things. We want to share logic between builds, and we want one thing to depend on another, right? So I want, for example, my leader and my worker to depend on a new module called autoconfig, right? So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's copy one of these. We're going to copy minus our leader to whatever autoconfig, I guess. Okay, good. So And I want to update the build here. I'll say include auto configuration. Okay. So Gradle Q projects seems to have worked. Now, of course, the auto configuration directory is not this the code what we want yet, but it'll get us there. So let's see. I want to share like, okay, I feel like I'm already in a good place. Let's just see if we can start making this stuff work. Ooh, hey, that's not a great message to get. It looks like my flight might be delayed tomorrow. Because of snow and inclement weather, and you can see it's rather inclement indeed. Okay, what is it doing now? So this is auto configuration. This module. What is the issue here? Prepare Kotlin build script model not found in auto configuration. I feel like that really, I don't know why Kotlin matters here. I'm not using Kotlin. Get rid of that. And that does bring up a good point, which is, so why didn't this work? Why can't I import it? Okay, maybe I should import the root. Oh yeah, okay, so idea build.gradle. Yeah. Gradle? I don't know. What is it? How do I get both of them imported? Okay, that seems happier. Okay, does it show the modules? Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Okay, that does seem better though, right? Like it looks like it's brought in the worker and the leader nodes correctly. So we want the auto config to be in one place for both of them. That way we can reuse some of the annotations instead of having duplicate. So this is leader. We want the worker stuff here now. Okay, take that there. Refactor. Continue. And here, outbound chunk channel. That's where these two annotations can be centralized, right? Good. Go here. What is this issue? Chunk item writer. So that's the leader, right? That makes sense. These annotations should stay in the leader package because they're only used by that thing. It's not a consistently used thing across both of them. But what about this? Why is this unhappy? Okay. Chunking item writer. Did I change the code? Where am I? This is supposed to be the worker node. Oh, it's these. This is the chunk item processor. Okay, what did we do wrong? Would it be confusing if so on the worker side, remember I've got, again, this is remote chunking. And so the use case is you have Spring Batch. Let me see if I can find that picture, the famous picture, Spring Batch diagram documentation. It was famously, they even used it in the A batch, right? Domain language of batch here. There you go. Job launcher launches a job. Jobs have one or more steps. Each step has an item reader, an item processor, an item writer. Okay, so you can have like 5 steps, one after another. Each of them reads something, does something with it, and then writes it out. Hey, Asir, good to see you, buddy. How are you? So yeah, this flow is pretty standard, right? And so what I want to do is, in the remote chunking world, the leader node with a batch job running gets to a step which acts as like a proxy or a facade or something, right? And this sends the data from that step over a broker, over like RabbitMQ or Kafka or whatever, anything. And you can plug that in yourself, but it does it by sending the data into something called a message channel, which is like a pipe. And you send the message out over the pipe, and then it gets sent via Spring integration, the API. It sends it, it adapts it and sends it somewhere, right? RabbitMQ, Kafka, whatever. Then somewhere else in the world, you've got another JVM process. That JVM process is also using Spring integration. And in this case, it's looking, the Spring integration code is looking at RabbitMQ, for example, or Kafka or whatever. It gets the new message and it puts it in the pipe. And then on the flip side, on that other node, you've got some component that processes the data and then sends a reply back out through the reply channel, which then goes back to RabbitMQ and gets sent back to the leader node. So the leader goes out to the worker node via RabbitMQ. Worker node does some work, then sends the reply back through the reply channel to the leader node, again through RabbitMQ. And so what we are going to try and make happen and make clear and make possible is that you have consistent annotations to inject the pre-configured message channels on both the leader and the worker side. If you have those, then you can write whatever code you want to send and receive. You can write any Spring integration message flow, integration flow to do that, right? Yourself. So you can write, like here I'm using RabbitMQ, but I could have used Kafka, I could use whatever, right? Okay, so if that's true then, let's see. So if you're the leader node, then the outbound sorry, friends. Okay, so the outbound node, the outbound node will send data out. So the outbound channel is leaving the leader node, and then the reply comes in on the inbound node. But on the worker node, the inbound channel represents the arrival of the work, not the arrival of the reply, right? So it gets inverted based on whether you're talking about the leader or the worker node. So I've tried to make it clear with these qualifier annotations. Okay. So what was the plan here? We've got these annotations. So chunking item processor. So here, this is the worker autoconfig. We've got an item processor. What is that item processor? Oh, that's what you're supposed to provide. You're supposed to provide your own item processor and item writer. So that's what these annotations were over here. Item processor, item writer. Okay. So you need that here. I think we should make those very explicitly like related to just the worker side. You don't need them on the so maybe we could rename them. I don't know, worker chunking item writer, let's say. Okay. And then worker chunking item processor. Okay. Chunking item processor. And this would be worker chunking item writer. So you, in the autoconfig, you use these annotations, you tell Spring, hey, I'm exporting a bean of this type and a bean of that type. But what I also want to do is I want to make it that these are optional. Can I do that? How can I do that? Like you shouldn't, if you don't have one of, if you don't define a bean of item processor right now, it's going to break everything. Like it's assumed that you're going to do that. And to do, how do I make this like optional? To do, make this optional. I probably could use an object provider like this, right? Item processor. But does that work with the qualifier? That's what I'm trying to figure out here, right? Like if I did that, would that work? I don't know. To do, okay? Let's not worry about that right now. My goal is just to get things sane again, right? To get them all working again. So we're fleshing out the domain. So we've got the worker side. You've got these meta annotations here. These meta annotations are used to tell it, these qualifier annotations are used to tell it that we're going to inject a certain type. Let me move this here so I can see both. All right. Good. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. So there's the meta annotations, the inbound chunk channel, outbound chunk channel. We've got worker chunking item processor, worker chunking item writer. Do I need the word chunk everywhere? Worker chunking? Because it's not really, I guess it's more like a chunk, isn't it? I think it's better to be consistent, right? Use chunk everywhere. Worker chunk item processor. Worker chunk item writer. Okay. Inbound chunk channel, outbound chunk channel. Chunking step. Chunking. Okay, so we don't need. So this is the leader node. What about the leader side? Do I want to have like leader chunk step? I think I do, just for symmetry, if nothing else, right? So this is the leader chunk. No need for the ing form. And then what about this? Leader chunk item writer. So both sides have an item writer, so it's nice to have explicit, be explicit about which type is used where. Okay. Hey. You want to hear some good news? I mean, it's terrible news, but it's better now, right? My birthday was 31 January, and my parents were nice enough to come visit me. But I had just got back from a trip to New York, and there I caught COVID. So perfect storm of nightmares. My poor, wonderful parents were there when I came back from New York. I didn't even know I was sick. I felt fine for the first several days, and then I spent a couple of days. I came back on the 28th, I guess, and then 31st was my birthday. I woke up on the 31st and I was like, oh, something is definitely wrong. I feel terrible, right? I didn't feel bad the night before. I was feeling great up until the night before, but on the 31st, I woke up and I was like, oh wow, I just feel like death warmed over, just terrible. So I called the doctor and I got Paxlovid and medicine and all that stuff. And yeah, I feel fine. But my poor parents, they're older, they're in their 70s, right? So they caught COVID, and they're still like, it's the 16th of February now. I've been fine for like 10 days now, but they're still fighting it. But I just got some good news. My dad, he just tested negative for the first time since 31 January. So that's a step in the right direction. And my mom was testing negative, but then she got a rebound case. So she's positive again, but hopefully it'll be over very soon. Okay, fingers crossed, huh? So inbound chunk channel, remote chunking. Let's see, remote chunk. Okay. We should just be consistent here, right? So it's leader chunk step. So it should be leader chunk auto configuration. Okay, clean that up. Come on, refactor. Thank you. Good. And then this is worker chunk auto configuration, isn't it? So rename worker chunk auto configuration. I don't know if it's the right thing, but at least it's a consistent thing. That's important, right? Yeah, good. So worker chunk auto config, chunk worker having value equals true, leader auto config, leader chunk. Leader chunk. Okay. Good. This is the leader chunk. What do we call it? Leader chunk handler. I don't want people to inadvertently override this bean by the name, if you weren't intending to. So you should override it by the type. So I'm going to use it nice and very specific names that are hard to automatically. I'm not going to just call it like remote chunk handler factory bean, which is what the IDE would probably have suggested for a lot of people. Okay. So tasklet step, leader chunk step. Okay, leader item writer. Leader item writer. Why? Oh, because you have to put this in your own step. You have to inject the item writer that we provide for you into your own step. Okay, that's why. So we're qualifying it here so that in your code you can inject this item writer with this qualifier, and you'll get the right one. Okay, good. What about this? So we've got here requests here requests message channel. Message channel. Okay. Here replies message channel. Okay, well, it feels like we have one more thing to do, don't we? We have to make sure the property files don't exist. Goodbye to that. And then for this, we need to make sure we list both the leader autoconfig and the worker. Okay. So we have both of those listed there. Seems reasonable. So now, now we have to figure out, let's delete the autoconfig in these other projects, because remember, these are just samples. And I use them as like a harness to quickly develop the code, but I don't want to do this. I want to keep them there. I want to keep it in that separate jar. That's the whole exercise, right? So let's see. The README, we don't need that. We don't need the license in the root. Don't need the Gradle build files either. We don't need the git ignore. So we want these to be as skeletal as possible. So most of that stuff should live at the root directory, shouldn't it? So README, license, all that should be down here, the root. Gradle WRDK, skip. Okay. I can delete it here. Delete that. What about git ignore? Is that at the root as well? Refactor. Overwrite. Good. So this directory here. What is this? Do I need to? Okay. So what are the command line here? So Gradle W. What does this do? I don't even know. It seems to be okay. Oops. Okay, okay, that's fair. So the auto configuration project is not, as it, obviously it's not a Spring Boot app. It should be treated as a library, which is good. Let's see, get rid of all that. So the project here, how do I disable that? I guess I can just get rid of the plugin. I don't really need the native stuff right now. I don't need this, do I? Whatever, common example. Like it's all just, why is it so unhappy with me? Look at that. How do I share my, so okay, we got to figure that out later. What I want to do is I want to centralize the Maven plugin, not the Gradle plugins and the dependencies at the root, because there's no need to redundantly specify all this stuff across both leaders, or both leader and worker. But okay, let's see if this works. No, it does not. Oh, wait, what? I've got the, that's interesting. The auto configuration module is now broken because the class path is broken because it can't find the Spring Boot dependencies. Okay, let's go ahead and just cheat. We'll take a look at some projects and see how they're doing it. Spring projects. Spring, that's a simple one that I could probably understand with my limited knowledge of Gradle. Security, let's try that one. And that was a mistake. Immediately, I regret this. So they have a build.gradle in the root. That's probably where they're centralizing their stuff. Excuse me. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not really. I need like a simple multi-module Gradle app. Look at that dependency. This is like a lot of stuff here, so that's not going to work. I'm too too green for that. I need something like simple, and frankly, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. The Spring projects, by definition, are some of the largest, most widely used, most refined source code projects on the planet. So, looking for inspiration for a neophyte like myself here. Oh, is GraphQL using Gradle? Yeah. But it looks like I could understand it. Okay. So now what? So we've got configure module projects, Java library, apply plugin, Java test fixtures. Okay. The only problem with this, of course, is that it's still not using the dependency management. Ext module project, Spring framework. Oh, they're defining the versions here though. Org Spring framework. Okay. GraphQL, build conventions, Maven Central. That's really cool. So if the version contains, okay, it's dash. So if this project version contains dash, then the repository should search in milestones. Otherwise, if it contains snapshots, look in snapshots. That's really cool. Okay, but See, they're not referencing the version of the Spring project either here. So how are they doing that? What are they doing to like get version management here? Spring GraphQL. If I implement the project in the dependency, how do I do that? I'm new. Like, now, by the way, I could do this in like a minute in Maven. I could just switch this over to Maven and I would never look back and it would be great. But implementation, project, path, project name. Okay. Ooh. Thank you. The help is good. So where does that go? Like where do I put that? I've got 4 Gradle files, build.gradle files. Worker, leader, autoconfig, and the root one, which is just settings.gradle. Why is everything grayed out? Why does it not know? Okay, that seems a little bit better. So if I go here to, it doesn't show me the implementation project. Implementation project path. Oh, okay. You're saying I should go to my autoconfig. No, sorry. I should go to my leader and to my worker nodes, and then pull in the autoconfig using that implementation project path colon and then the name of the auto configuration drawer. Okay, that's cool. Let's do that. But that's not my real problem right now. My problem right now is like the autoconfig. This isn't compiling at all because it's saying, hey, you're asking to use these dependencies, org Spring Framework, blah blah blah, but you don't have a version. Cannot be applied. Dependencies closure cannot be applied to Groovy Lang closure. I don't know if I trust that at all. Like, okay, let's just keep it simple. This code isn't using anything. Okay, so that I'm not sure how to like. By the way, thank you for that amazing tip. I appreciate you. I want you to know that. I'm still confused about the basics here. Why doesn't this? Okay, so like if I just do, whoops, if I just go here, it'll build, right? I'm expecting that to build all 3, but it's saying that it can't find in the auto configuration directory. It cannot find this dependency called Spring Batch Integration, and the reason is because it doesn't know the version, right? If I specify the version, I'll bet it would be happier. But I don't want to specify the version. I want Spring Boot. Like if I had this plugin, I think it would be better. It would know the version, but the problem is that the boot plugin also provides it also needs a main class in that autoconfig directory, which I don't want. This is not an app; it's a library, right? So it doesn't have the dependencies anymore. Why doesn't this work? That's what I'm wondering. It's like, see how weird that is? Like this build.gradle. Building a library with, but I have to like leave in an hour and a half. So set alarm for 14:30.
Okay, your 14:30 alarms are on.
Okay. With Gradle, build a library with Gradle, Spring Boot, dependency management. I don't know. This is one of those things where maybe I could ask ChatGPT. Okay. Spring Boot Gradle plugin reference. Oh, okay. So now we got something. So oh. Okay, so I do, that's, okay, that's the trick. Look at that. So if I get rid of, I can bring back this plugin. I can say apply equals false. That might be the ticket. Or not. Okay, so then we apply this plugin. Okay, so this is apply the dependency management plugin and then configure to import Spring Boot's BOM. So we've applied the plugin, okay, and then we want to do this. Okay, why is it? Okay, let's just do this, copy and paste until it works, right? That's the way we go here. Oh, what is happening with that? Okay, let's see here. So what is this doing for me? So that's applied. Now what? Import Maven BOM. Sorry, I have to go see a wonderful customer in like 2 hours, and I'm excited about that. And we're just like coordinating. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. You just watch. Okay, so my goal is we have to figure this out before then. Otherwise, it won't get figured out, right? Or at least it won't get figured out before then. So we need to hurry up. So Grid allows a BOM to be used to manage a project's versions by declaring it as a platform or enforce platform dependency. What does that mean? What does that mean? New and exciting errors. Did you see that? Okay, find iname build args rmrf array. Okay. Doesn't exist. What doesn't exist? Who said it does? What's? I'm kind of excited though. Look, it's Spring Boot. It started up Spring Boot. But why? What happened there? Oh, is it because they still have the leader and worker nodes, and do they still think we're using autoconfig? Because we're not. I mean, we are, but not the one provided here. Okay, goodbye. Worker. Okay, goodbye to that. Okay, now we're going to use my friend's trick here, the one you just taught me, which is I'm going to bring in the dependency, which implementation project path project name, which is auto configuration. Okay, that seems, so that's, which one is that? That's the worker. What about the leader? Ooh, okay, we're making progress. So here, is that type on the class path? Yes. Yes, it is, my friends. Okay, so batch remote chunking, okay. We can just go through and like fix these problematic imports, and I think we're basically a lot of the way there. It's still a terrible build. I still have like all this redundant stuff on each module, but step in the right direction for sure. So we changed it to just be chunk. It's called a which side am I in? I'm in the leader node application. So it's leader item writer. Sure. Okay. And then we call this outbound chunk channel. All right. Inbound chunk. Okay. Why is it? What's the error here? Oh, chunk step. Chunk step. Leader chunk step. Yes. Okay. That's promising, right? Okay. Now, what about the worker side with our changes in place? Okay. Chunk item processor. So this is a worker chunk item processor. Okay, and right now this is just a pass through. We're doing nothing special, and that's why I think this should be optional, right? We'll come back to that in a minute. But okay, so there's that. What about this? The chunk item writer. This is the worker chunk item writer. Okay. Inbound, outbound. Everybody happy? Okay, everything compiles. Let's just confirm that. That's a big if. Okay, so git status, git. Let's see, we have a lot of things to account for here. Okay, refactored the code to use a terrible multi-module Gradle build. Thanks to the chat. Okay, commit and push. Oh, yours, yeah. Okay, what? Just go. Okay, so git status, everybody happy? All right, good. So everything has been saved to the cloud. So now we can make a mess and see if we can fix it. So okay, let's just try it. First of all, I want to just try running the different modules by themselves. So we'll start with the I just got the coolest I can't believe how good technology is. I just got a notification saying, "Hey, we expect the snow to stop at like whatever in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I forgot the time, but then to pick up 18 minutes after that." So it'll resume snowing 18 minutes, as if to suggest you should take advantage of that 18-minute window and get where you're going before the snow makes it impossible, which is amazing. Okay, so yeah, it's better, right? This is a lot better, this code. Let's go ahead and run everything. So we'll say Gradle. This is my first time. I know how to do this. I can do this. Don't help me. Don't help. You say leader boot run, right? Oh, capital U. Ah, what just happened? Okay. Boo. What did I just do wrong? Oh, in my auto config somewhere for the leader. Okay, we can do this. So leader auto configuration. I'm okay. Private final static string messaging template in name equals this thing right here. Okay, move that up here to that. Then okay, there and here. I could have created a meta annotation, but as I'm the only one who's using this qualifier, I don't really need to do that. So will this recompile? I've changed the code there. Let's see if I'm going to tell it to run the leader node, but that leader node declares a dependency on the auto config. The auto config has changed. Will it pick it up? Do I have to rebuild the whole project? I don't know. This is new to me. In Maven, it would not. You'd have to tell it to rebuild. Oh, hey, it made a different. It's failing for a new and exciting reason, which is that we don't have Docker running. So there's Docker Compose in the root directory. Let's just go there. Docker Compose up. Okay. There's RabbitMQ. It seems happy. Where's Postgres? Postgres, are you there? So Docker ps -a. Oh, so it's still run. Oh, it did run. Could have fooled me. Oh no, that's Docker. That's RabbitMQ. What about Postgres? Postgres is 2 days ago. So why isn't it running? Okay, let's just delete it and call it good. Okay, so Docker RM force this, and Docker RM force that one. Okay, Docker Compose up. RabbitMQ, good. What about Postgres though? SQL u pg password equals Postgres h localhost Postgres. No, it's definitely not running. Cat Docker Compose. I don't have what was the thinking here, Josh? Maybe I have multiple Docker Composes. Oh, just one. Okay, so we need Postgres. Otherwise, hi Thomas, good to see you again, man. Let's see here. We need Postgres. So Docker Compose. Where did I put it? I put it in Beautiful Pod. No, I put it in developer advocacy. Yeah. Repositories. And it's in. Oh, I'm for those of you joining. Yeah, I'm refining this auto configuration for Spring Batch to get it in a shape where we've got a multi-module build with the auto configuration in one jar and a worker node and a leader node in separate jars, and that way it's all clean. Like you can reuse both leader and the worker can transitively import the auto config, and they get the right beans. One thing I have to be careful of is, I'm learning about Gradle here, so I'm taking steps to make sure that doesn't break on me, that I don't break it, because I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so here's my Docker Compose file with Postgres. Draw that in there. Docker Compose down. Docker Compose up. Okay, now back to our lab here. Control C, Gradle leader, boot run. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so now Gradle leader, Gradle worker, boot run. It should pick up the slack. It should take the messages coming across the wire, do some processing. Yep, look at that. Wrote some records down. And if we go back to the first one, you'll see that it's done the job, waiting for one result, and then it finished when we started the worker node, which satisfied the work. My friends, we did it. We got this thing like to a point where it's not completely broken. Okay. That's awesome. I'm pretty pleased, to be honest with you. So batch leader chunk. I think this test is a little silly. Like, the test is only there because you don't want the auto config to start up both the worker and the leader auto config on both sides. You don't want the worker to start to become a leader, and you don't want the leader to start to become a worker, unless you truly are doing like a loopback thing where one piece of code in the same JVM as the other is sending the message out to RabbitMQ and it's looping right back to itself, which sort of defeats the point. But even there, if you wanted that for whatever reason, you could just enable both properties, chunk leader and worker. Okay, so what else do we want to do to make this a little bit cleaner? I think I want to extract out some configuration properties, because I don't, well, first of all, I don't know how to do this with Gradle because there's a configuration processor. And second of all, it's just nice to have auto completion, right? So we're going to create a type here called okay, we're going to create a property here called chunk configuration properties. It's going to be a record. And what properties do we have? Well, we got one as far as I know. So configuration properties. This. And we'll create a class here called record leader enabled. So leader. Then we have another one here for worker. Okay. That'll be this. And that. Do I need to make this public? Sure, why not? That. So now, in theory, I need to enable this. I need to say @enable configuration properties. For what? For the chunk auto configuration. And this needs to be listed as well. So copy reference to here. Good. So now that'll start up, and it'll create the auto configuration for those property files, for the property values, and I can inject that in well, right now I don't actually need to. There's nothing I can inject. It's just a static string anyway. But in theory, I could one day. Okay, what else? What else can we do to make this a little cleaner, friends? So it says leader chunk message channel. I don't know. I want to make this like a little bit more redundant, but also unique. Leader chunk message channel. Good. Leader chunk handler. Leader chunk messaging template. Yeah, that's consistent with everything else. So what about down here in the worker side? Do I have any missed opportunity? Yeah, I do. Okay, so what did I do over here for the outbound? So leader. So here's the. So this is the worker. So this is rename. And here it's called inbound message channel, but it's actually worker requests message channel. Okay. And then what about this one? Worker replies. Okay. So, and then worker chunk processor. Okay, so worker chunk. Oh, cool. I just got a um, a nice recognition that I'm not a terrible employee by my company. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see. We have the. I don't know. I don't even know what we're doing here. Like, I think it's clean enough. I'm just polishing at this point, really. Okay. I want to figure out how to do the. I want to figure out how to centralize my build logic. I've got all these plugins and dependencies that are common to like everything. First of all, and then second of all, I want to configure only the leader and worker nodes, right? Because only they should have the RabbitMQ dependencies, for example, because they're demonstrating using RabbitMQ. But the autoconfig shouldn't bring that in. That shouldn't be implied. So let's do that. Okay, so Control C. Okay, now what? So now we have to. Well, first of all, I'm going to commit my atrocities here. I think we made some good progress, but let's commit it all. Git status. Git diff. Git. Yeah, it seems fine. Git commit. Polish. Git push. Okay, good. Now what? Now what? Okay, we close with Java code. I want to play with the Java code. I'm ignoring the hard stuff. You know, the hard stuff is like and boring stuff. Maybe it is hard because it's boring, but the important stuff is this build stuff, and I got to figure that out now. I'm just putting it off because I don't want to play with my new toy. You know. Okay, so multi-module. Yeah, I don't care about this anymore. Here's the root. Ext module projects. Who uses this? No, that's. I don't feel like I'm gonna get a lot by multi-module Gradle projects. Okay, multi-module Gradle projects. It's pretty cool. There's a guide. Wait. Okay, wait. That's Maven. No, I don't want Maven. I want Gradle. So settings.gradle in the root. We did that part. I didn't know that. You can create a build.gradle here, the root as empty. So touch build, copy worker, build.gradle to here. Okay. Empty at the moment. Wow, can you hear what chaos is happening below me? Again, 42 floors up. 42 floors. Blows my mind. You know, city life, I guess. You can't escape this kind of noise unless you leave the city. Straight up. Create the directory. Make in the library directory. Create a file. Okay. Setting up a library project. Here's how you do it with Maven. Wait, what? Is this the... This isn't a library project, right? Why would the library project have the Spring Boot Maven plugin, which will create a so-called fat jar? Okay. Okay, there you go. They got rid of the Maven plugin. So I suppose the same is true here. Okay. Oh, hey, look at this. You say apply false. Okay, that's what we just did earlier. That's exactly what we just did a minute ago. Good. So now what? We've got the boot jar task. Tries to create an executable jar, and that requires a mean. Okay, so yeah, we got rid of the plugin. Okay, creating a service. Test. Creating the application. Okay, this does require the Maven plugin. We just did all this stuff right now. Yeah, project. That's what we just did. Thank you so much, chat. Figured that out for me. So where's the... Like, this is... It's all well and good. I mean, this is all the stuff that we've already done. What I'm... Oh, but it's with Kotlin. My bad. I mean, I'll take anything. You know, give me an example. Even if it's Kotlin, I can translate. Okay, so this is kind of annoying because it it gives me exactly what I've got. What I want is a definition of a root project. Well, see, like, how do I keep the dependencies? Do I just put those in the build.gradle? Did they get shared? Okay. MRCLRC. Okay. GitHub.com. LRCHTR Gradle and Spring. Okay. Thank you. Hmm. Okay, so you can do simple stuff like that. Okay, that's good. Build that Gradle, you can store config. That's nice to know. But it doesn't show me the dependencies. I guess I can do, so my question is, can I just put a dependencies element and a plugins element in the root build.gradle? I suppose I probably could, right? Try it, I guess. But let's remove everything. Actually, I mean, how much can I put? Let's just try everything. Let's just try putting everything in the root build.gradle and seeing what I can remove successfully. Obviously, the COM example, I mean, this is, so in the root one, I want everything except for AMQP. Oops, no, I want integration though. Okay. Okay, so I feel like, I mean, my intuition is that that would be like, oh, that should apply to all the child dependencies, all the child projects. And therefore, I don't need to respecify everything implied in those. I hope. That's what I'm hoping. So if I'm wrong, then everything's going to break horribly very soon. So let's just find out, huh? So I'm going to comment this out. Okay. This is the leader node. I do need a Postgres dependency. Okay, it goes here. What about the root one? Yeah, okay. So I need all that other stuff to go away. Test implementation, I want that. Everything else. Leader, yeah, I want the Lombok support, but everything else I can, I hope I can just comment out. I don't know if that's true or not. That doesn't look right at all. Let's just try it. Gradle W projects. Rats. Do I have to redefine this stuff? Why would I? That makes no sense. What about the plugins? Do I have to define that stuff again? Like, what would I have to reintroduce for that to work? Like, okay, what about that? Okay. Don't know if it actually worked, but it looks like it worked, doesn't it? Okay, that's the leader. What about the worker? Well, actually, let's just try it out first. Gradle. Can I just do Gradle run? Leader boot run. Please work, please work, please work. Nope. Not found. Okay, so I need the plugin still. What about, so that's this plugin. Apply false. I want to apply true on that one. Okay. Oh, what is this Spring, is that the message? Is that the build source stuff I was looking at earlier? It might be. Okay, so build.gradle.kts. Maybe that's what I need to do. Yeah, okay. Hmm. Hmm. What am I supposed to do here? What's the minimal start.spring.io build look like? Repositories. Okay. Configurations, repositories, Maven Central. I mean, do I have to recompile all that, reconfigure all that stuff again? I feel like I'm gaining nothing here. Oh, okay. Compile only. How about that? Oh. Okay, I need the JSON dependency here. Okay, what else is wrong? Spring Batch isn't here. Spring Boot Starter. Oh, so it's definitely not working. It's not seeing the root dependencies. Okay, that's fine. So now let's figure this out. I think the build source is probably more important. How to centralize dependencies and plugins and whatever for multi-module Gradle projects, please. Wait. Establish that they defaulted to Kotlin. Was I wrong about that? Yeah, it was. Now it's Groovy in this one. Okay, well, bummer. Let's see. Version catalogs can be declared in the no. Controlling transitives. No, this is not exactly what I want. Why do I care about a catalog? Wait, Tom Gregory. Little Hero GitHub. Gradle version, Gradle init. Yeah. Gradle quiet hello world. Gradle info hello world. Why is everybody against tests right now? Okay, surely there's going to be something I can use here. Single version, okay, setting. So single project builds, build source code. Okay, good. Now, multi-project build settings like Gradle representing your build includes a bunch of stuff, and build.gradle and source code representing the root project, which is equivalent to the project contained in a single project build. Repeat build.gradle and source code pairs in subdirectories representing any number of subprojects. Okay, great. Same. Got it. Wait, key is a parent of. It doesn't feel like it is, right? Like just including it doesn't share. Rebuilding multiple artifacts. Okay. Ha. This might be what I needed. Enroll for free. Ooh. I've taken his courses before. I like his courses. I paid for one of his courses, so I might just do that. But if I can find an answer for this a little more quickly, I'd love that. So okay, let's see. Root empty project app depends on the app. Sorry, the root project depends on the app. Depends on implementation project : blah blah blah. Okay, service layer, repository layer. No. Did you add the subproject as dependencies to the root? Is that a thing I can do? I included them. I did this. I did I'm not sure if that's the same though. Build.gradle. Where's my root? Oh no, I did it in settings, didn't I? I did it here in settings.gradle, so I included. Is that what you mean? Maybe. Like all I want to do is I want to extract out the dependencies and the plugins and whatever, all that into a separate single thing. I don't care what that single thing is. I would like it to be in the root because logically that's where my head thinks it should be because I come from the Maven ecosystem. But if there's a different, more idiomatic way to do it in Gradle, then let's have it. I'll do that instead, happily, Gradle, centralize configuration and dependencies. Okay. As a dependent? Okay, why would I? Okay, explain. So, like, implementation, project, leader, worker, auto configuration, like that. Wouldn't that create a cyclic? Okay, well, whatever. Let's try it. I don't care. Got nothing to lose. Nope. A build. The leader node doesn't have access to Spring Batch. Wait, doesn't I just no, I did. It's right there actually. Never mind. That was pointless. Okay. That's it. That is useless. Ah, now we're cooking. Okay. Now we're cooking. See? RTM. Okay. Use, for example, okay, good. Some help. For example, I can include my library in my settings.gradle, include build, and then I can use it as a dependency in my build.gradle. But right. Okay, I appreciate that. I think I'm missing what you're trying to teach me, my friend. I just want to put the dependency on Spring Boot starter batch in one place, and then have all the other modules bring that one version in, that one dependency. I want to put like 5 dependencies in one place, not my dependencies, just Spring Boot dependencies, Spring Framework dependencies, and then have it applied, have the dependencies brought into. Oh yes, Kotlin Groovy DSL. Yes, please. It gave me source code. Yes, you win. I win. Okay, let's see. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. Open this. Yes. Okay, so that's, I knew it was gonna be build source. How much didn't I say I thought it was something with build source? Excuse me, that was a burp. CD sample. Cible. Okay. So these are conventions. Java conventions. You can do it. So is this just like showing me how to do it in multiple different ways? So you can write your own custom tasks and stuff using Java code. You can have custom resources. You can declare custom options. What is this then? This gives me oh, it's so painfully boring. I hate this stuff. I hate it. Okay, I'm gonna just look here. It's February 16th, 2023. I know in my head, if I just stick with this, it'll be like breathing, in 6 months. It'll be fine. But in the meantime, it is so painfully irrelevant and painful, and I just don't care. I don't care at all. Let's see. Plugins. What is this? So this is library A. See, that's awesome. It's using my project library conventions. My project library conventions. That's all this. So if I just put it in the build source, does it automatically know what to do with that? Implementation of that's in the build source, is it? Yeah. Library A, library conventions, internal module. They're referencing this, which just uses the Java conventions. Hey, be right back, everybody. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see, where did we leave off? So, okay, I think we got something here, friends. I think we've got something interesting. So I'm going to just copy and paste blindly because, what could go wrong? I mean, it really couldn't get worse than what I've got already. So I'm going to copy and paste that build source from the internet, and I'm going to put it here in the root of my project, like so. And do I need to do anything there? I mean, does IntelliJ know what to do with this automatically? Let's say if I go to build.gradle. Oh, come on. I didn't mean to close that. Command Shift I. Bring it in. No, that's not what I wanted. I want to bring in Gradle. Refresh. That's what I wanted. Okay, it's discovered my build source. You can see it down there. Down there, it's downloading everything. It's downloading the spot bugs thing from my build source that I just copied and pasted. Okay. And so in this example of theirs, in this right here, it's saying it's bringing in my project library conventions, org conventions. That's bizarre. Okay, updating indexes or indices. Okay, seems happy. What did we just do? Okay, I think this is kind of interesting. I mean, look, it okay, we're gonna call this beautiful. I don't care, whatever, beautiful. Okay, and in the plugins, I want all the plugins that I had previously put here. I'm just gonna copy and paste all that to here. What about settings, Gradle? It's just called beautiful, right? And what is Gradle doing? Do I care about this or that? I do. Okay, so build Gradle. Okay, so I can have dependencies. So I'm going to comment out their dependencies and their configuration for the test stuff because I've already got that. So let's copy and paste that to the central thing. Okay. That's mine. Mine. I'm sure it's basically the same, but just in case I can. Okay, what else? What else? They have a plugin section up here. So I can have a plugin section. That means I can copy and paste this. Right, good. Mine. Version, I don't see that they have this in theirs. That makes sense. Why would they? Configuration, repositories. I expect that all of this still matters. I don't think I need Spring Cloud version though, because hey Gabriel, thanks for joining us. Let's see, dependency management, imports. Do I need that? I don't think I'm using Spring Cloud Stream at all, to be frank. My repositories, configurations, and dependency management. I don't know. Seems like I could probably have that as well. So let's just leave that all there. Oh, I've got repositories over here, so I don't need the. Well, I do want this just in case. So we'll go ahead and add that to my repositories section. Okay. Reload. Please don't break. Oh, it broke horrifically and completely. Oh, okay. Yeah, build source doesn't need that either. Or that. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, what about now? Please work. Wow, test groovy. Why? Oh, is that the I mean, I don't know. Gradle seems like it's got some power here. I just don't know it. You know, I'm kind of learning right now as we go. Okay, so do I need all that? I don't want the Java. There's no way I need that, right? I don't need that. What is? I don't need their checks style either. Goodbye, refactor, resources. Yeah. Okay, we got this. We got this. I haven't tried a custom denied handler. That's interesting. I don't even know what that is. Oh, is that like a Spring security thing? Sounds like it. Okay, so let's see here. README check. So the project requires that libraries have a README containing sections configured below. So it has to have an API and a changelog. Okay, great. But for now, I do not care. Okay. Calm example. I don't have this yet. I don't care about any of this right now. Okay. Java library. Is this like a? I don't get it. I think I screwed up. I think what I did was I put all the stuff that I want. I think this was supposed to be the build for the build source, not the build for the stuff that I'm trying to share, right? Okay, so I have to go back and undo my mistake here. Okay, so build. Okay, build.gradle. So this is clearly for. Now I get it. Okay, I'm starting to. Okay, I did everything wrong. So this is like the definition of the dependencies for build source itself, which in turn can export Gradle configuration, which I can share with the rest of my projects. Yikes! What is this? Excuse me. I don't need this though. Like, I'm not writing Java code. I'm still not doing that. So, okay, let's try that again. So reload. Please work. Or not. It's fine. Why does this care? Build source test. Oh, tests. That's where they get you. They want you to prove your code works. I'm just like, no, just trust me, it works. Which is, of course, a stupid thing to think. But for now, I'm trying to get this down to like the fewest moving parts possible. What I want is to be able to have a build.gradle somewhere that I can import, basically. Oh, goodness. So, okay. So here, project need to use check style. I don't care about that. I don't want any of that right now. I want literally the minimum. Okay. This seems what I want. So this is a Java convention, and this is the superset. Okay. This is Java conventions.gradle. Okay. What is this? So does this Java library have anything to do with this? I don't know. Oh, it does. No, yeah, it uses that. Yeah, my project dot Java conventions. Library conventions. So I want a lot. So this is like common Java library conventions for all the Java projects in the project. Okay, so that means that all the stuff that I put here, I can put in the Java stuff, basically, almost all of it. So let's try that out. Okay, so we want tasks. Test. We want to configure the test plugin. Great, good. We want these plugins applied. That checks out, right? So I've already got the Java one. I might as well have the Spring Boot and dependency management one. I don't need this. Dependency management, of course, I need that configured. Otherwise, I can't use the right BOM. I need the configurations for Lombok. I don't care about that right now. Yeah, I don't care right now. So repositories, what about that? I've got Maven Central already specified. I don't need the Spring Cloud version. I do need some dependencies, and those dependencies I will just take from here. Okay, and so I'm going to put those here. Dependency management is already up there, so I don't need it again twice. Yeah, okay, good. So now this is my Java support, my Java like convention containing my repositories, my Maven dependency management, or sorry, Maven Central dependency management. Why is this so unhappy? Am I not allowed to do that in a convention project? Let's just re-import it and see what happens. Okay, what's happening? Wait, what? Did I just remove the version? Why would I do that? The whole point is on like, okay, does that make a difference? Hey, okay. Yeah, Gabriel, you and me both, brother. I am so lost. So, okay, for those of you who are just joining, yeah. First of all, I gotta go in like, whatever, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. I gotta eat my lunch and then go meet a customer. But second of all, what we're building is, I built a Spring Batch app on stream for last week. and it gets to a step where we do remote chunking, where we send data from a leader node to a worker node over some sort of message queue, and then the response comes back. And anyway, that work is oh, hold on one second, friends. So anyway, um, I built something that basically it simplifies that work, and I built it as an auto config. But now I'm trying to do a multi-module or multi-project Gradle build, and here I am out of my depth. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm learning on stream. And if you want to watch me suffer, I'm glad you're here. But it is so boring. I mean, this is like the opposite of what I dreamed of when I was a child. I never woke up and said, I cannot wait to configure a build. This is not interesting to me. This is like, oh, there's expense reports, and then there's this, and these are two of my least favorite things in the world to be stuck on. Okay, but I think we're making progress. I've got this Java conventions.gradle, and I want to import it. Okay, so I'm gonna for now, I don't even know if this one does anything. I don't care about this one yet. My project. So can I just bring that in just like this one does? Can I please? Go here. Does that work? Please. So this is what is this project that I'm in right now? So here, let's try. Like if I bring in my own custom plugin like that, does that automatically bring in everything else that I need except for the, so I can comment that out, comment this out. No, I need that for this is for Lombok, isn't it? But I do not need the rest of this. Like all this other stuff, I shouldn't need if I've done my job correctly. I do need Postgres. I do need. No, I don't even need that here yet, do I? I need test support, dependency management. Good. So this is the auto configuration jar. I'm bringing in my project Java conventions. Let's see if I can. Okay. Configuration with name org. Wait, what is this? Which project is this? Oh, this is the root. Wait, okay, so the root one, we don't want anything. We just want that in the auto config right here. So I can comment that out and leave that in. Okay, so rebuild. Build.gradle for build source. That's this one right here. Dependency management. Now it's telling me it can't find the version, but it told me to get rid of the version just a minute ago. So now, who wins and why am I the wrong one here? So what if I bring this back? 3.02. False. Please. For love of Pete. 1.10. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call it. I have to go. I have to go get some food in my belly and get on to my next meeting in about half an hour. I gotta finish my food and then get dressed up and pack up and get in a car and drive in the snow. So, okay, my friends, this has been fun. We did almost 3 hours today. Did a lot, and yet not so much. I mean, to be fair, the first like 40 minutes was just reviewing the latest and greatest in the wide and wonderful world of Gradle, and then we dove right into it. We polished the API, got it into a nice standalone auto configuration module, and now here we are, knee deep in Gradle goodness, and I'm sure we'll get it sorted out eventually. Perhaps I'll take another crack at it off stream. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to catching up with you sooner rather than later. I'll have more content up, more like actual videos on my YouTube channel as usual. So, because I'm doing these live streams, but that's not the only way I intend to wield this new YouTube channel. It's just one of the manifestations. So thank you for joining me as always, and I'll talk to you next time.